Hello, everybody. Jim Malone coming to you live on Dallas Trading Floor. It is Wednesday. Happy Wednesday for everybody out there. And the day before Thanksgiving. And I hope that everyone is going to have a nice Thanksgiving. I certainly know that I'm going to be. We're not going to be on the air tomorrow. And on Friday, we will be on at 2:30 the regular time, but it's only a half trading day, so it probably will be a little bit more more relaxed than than the other days. But yeah, so just ready to get into it here. We have we're seeing a tremendous run right now on Tesla, and when I made this slide, I mean, we were up at 464. We're actually higher than that now. We're about 571. It seems like Tesla's just on a tear. I don't know why. Maybe it's some of the big funds that are getting in prior to the Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving holiday, while everyone else is not looking, they're trying to buy, and because it's going into the S&P 500. So we're having quite a run on it today. But overall, this slide was taken a little bit earlier. We're just barely up on the NASDAQ overall. We're up for over 12,000. So it definitely is a blue bar today. But for some reason, and this is odd, we're down on the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones just ever so slightly. The trading volume is it's a little bit lower because we are kind of in a holiday week, and it's always that way. The key level on the S&P 500. Now, what I'm showing you here is actually not the S&P 500. It is the Spider, which is the world's largest ETF. A key level just moved above a key level, and that is the 360 level. It's at 362.19. It's down a tad. It was up a little bit. It's sort of flirting with this 360 level. This is a very key level. If we make a move beyond this, it probably means that the S&P is going higher, and just for everyone, the very important thing, Tesla is going to be in December, and we're coming up on that very closely. That may have to do with part of the reason why the stock is surging. It will go into the S&P 500, and once it does, of course, all these funds that have any S&P exposure are going to have to buy it. So that seems to be something that's kind of pushing Tesla up a little bit. Just wanted to show you the QQQ. This is the NASDAQ 100, and of course this is the largest ETF that covers pretty much the NASDAQ stocks. These are mostly growth stocks, and this is sort of where I concentrate most of my stock picking efforts, is in this area. We are above a very key level on that, and that's a 275 level. We're at 295.67, up about $1.10, 20 cents, 0.4%. Not a whole lot, but definitely holding there. If we move past about the $300 level, I think this will connote a new move to the upside. But right now, we're sort of in that range from about 275 on up to about 300. So that's kind of an interesting thing there. If we move higher, then we're likely to go much higher. Wanted to show you an earlier slide of Tesla. This has been superseded. Actually, it's above this right now. It's above 575. It's up today about $81, which is kind of incredible. But when this slide was taken earlier this morning, it was at 565.19, up $9, but it's since moved beyond that as well. So we definitely have, I think, the beginning of potentially a new run on Tesla. Now, here's the thing about it. It's very extended right now, and this is a very difficult place to buy it. I'd recommend not buying it until it forms another base, because the new base, will be a safer place to buy it. It's moved extremely, very, very fast, and it's when a stock moves like this, can be very, very difficult because of its, because of the volatility. Another volatile stock that I'm into today too, and of course I started buying this when it really broke out, at about the $15 level, and that's Palantir. I do think there's going to be legs on this one. It's up 13.6% today at 27.05 when this was taken about $3.23. Now, this is a lot. It's an expensive stock, but it is just seems like it's moving very, very fast. Before I'm adding to this position, I'm going to wait for a new base to form. I definitely think there's going to be a pullback, probably to about the 23, 24 level. Don't know exactly where that's going to be, but we're definitely probably going to see a little bit of a pullback on this one as well. But this is definitely one to put on the watch list because I do think we are potentially going a lot higher on that as well. So I added 2 positions today in the small portfolio. One was AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. It basically made a very nice move through a buy point, and I did add to that as well. When this slide was taken, it was 86.49, so that's pretty good on that as well. I do think this was going to go higher. The thing about AMD, you have to be patient. It seems to move up a little bit, and then it settles, and then sometimes it moves very quickly. So this is a tough one to play, but I also added to it. And I also added as well a full position in the small portfolio to PayPal, and it's up about $5.55 today at $211.55. So up about 2%. So it also moved through a key buy level. Just want to give you an idea of my current holdings, kind of what, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Cloudflare, I'm up on that again today. It's kind of just the gift that keep on giving. I do have a call option on this one at 70, so I probably will be selling out of this. I want to continue on it, but it's kind of exceeded my expectations. We're up a tad on the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. I've been trying to add to this due to the fact that I do think that after the first of the year, there's going to be a fairly weak market, and I do think that Bitcoin may be a good kind of hedge. There's sort of several ways to do that. One of the ways, of course, is buying the Bitcoin Trust, the GBTC, which basically holds 4% of the world's Bitcoin. That is a way you could possibly do it. And also, there is lots of Bitcoin buying right now by PayPal because they will be able to transact in that. So we're going to see some very interesting, we're going to see some interesting there. So there is demand from PayPal and Snap. We do have some very strong demand for Bitcoin from some of those sources. Remember, it's almost always institutional buying that brings something up. So basically, also in form factor, it's down a little bit today. It's been a tremendous performer. Of course, I'm in Tupperware, which it's really interesting. It's done very, very well. Tesla, of course, that speaks for itself. Palantir, of course, it's up. I've had a little bit of issue on Blink charging. We did have a pullback today, and I think it may be pulling back some more. I have hedged the position with a call option, but it's definitely down. So who knows? This may fall, and I may get stopped out of this one, Blink charging. But it's moved up very fast, and it's pulled back as well faster. Also, a small position in a company called Progeny. This is a very interesting company in that it is sort of like health insurance for in vitro fertilization, and it does have a very, very good following as well. It's up as well. AMD, again, I indicated that I had done a full position in that one. It's up today, as well as PayPal. So that's kind of the long and the short of it. Let's get over to some of the questions. Thank you for holding on. It's kind of an interesting big day. And I'm going to go first to YouTube. What do you think of Nvidia? That's from Antony. What do you think of Nvidia? I loved Nvidia earlier this year. If you've been watching me for a while, you'll know that I was I was pretty strong into Nvidia earlier in the year, in about the February timeframe. It's just done tremendously. It's pulling back a little bit. It's kind of acting weird. That's why I went with AMD on the position buy rather than Nvidia. I kind of want to show you the chart on this one here and just kind of like analyze it a little bit. You see, unfortunately, we have it. All stocks have their season. Always go to the weekly chart first to kind of look at the trend. We have made essentially a new trend, and unfortunately, that is a downward sloping trend. It's just, every dog has its day. I'm not saying that Nvidia is over with, but I'm saying that it has changed direction. Let's go to the daily chart to kind of see what I'm talking about. As you can see, we sort of have a resistance here at 589.07, and there is a buy point on this at 573.94. It's below that at 529.70. It's up today, but it is basically just hugging this line here, the 40-day line. Now, it is possible to buy this as it moves off this, and it may move off of the 40-day line. This might potentially be a good buy point. I'm a little bit leery right now until I see a little bit more conviction, until I see it move a little bit higher. I'm a little bit more conservative on this one than I was before, just because it's so far extended. This base, this new cup with handle base here, is basically a third stage base, so that's quite good. Now, typically base patterns are rated in 4 stages: first, second, third, fourth. If you're into the fourth stage base, typically it has a much less chance of moving up. But a third stage base is okay. So we might be able to buy this off the rebound here at the 40-day line. I'm still not convinced. I'm looking at the relative strength line and it's pointing down. That's telling me it's not time to buy this one. So I'm cautiously optimistic on this. It has a 100% checklist, which is unbelievably good, and the fund ownership is increasing. So that's very good. So it's definitely poised and ready. I'm a little bit leery at this point. I see it. I want to see it move a little bit higher, confirm an uptrend once again. Then I'm more interested. So I think you would have to on this one. I think you have to be careful and possibly watch this one and not and not move into it directly. I just think in this market it's a little bit tough. Tough to do that. So let's see. This is a question from TikTok from Brothers Other 7. That's the handle, and it's a question on INFY. So let's take a look at that symbol. See if I can bring that up. That's Infosys. Of course, that's the big Indian outsourcing company that is very prominent, and it has up in the past done pretty well, but let's kind of look at it and see if there's anywhere to buy there. It's got a relative strength of 88, so I like that. Anything better than an 80 typically that's what I want to see. It's return to profitability. It's return to sales growth. The sales were up 6% year over quarter. So that's good. It was lagging. It was having reduced sales, but it has retaken that sales growth once again. But we do have a declining number of funds that are in it. So let's see if we can buy this thing. Let's do the smell test. Checklist looks good. 6 out of 9. That's definitely, in my wheelhouse for pass on that. 6 out of 9 is my minimum, and it definitely passes. The funds are off a little bit. So basically on this one, what I'm seeing on Infosys here is that it's potentially a good, it's potentially a buy. It's really a watch list. I don't know if I might be willing to put this on a ready list. I would not buy this right now, but it does have a upward trend, which is good. As you can see, I'm showing the daily chart here. It does have that upward trend, so that is good. It's pulled back a little bit, and I think that it may be a buy as it reverses off of the 21-day line. But again, I would watch this one. I would get this one ready. I would set an alert, getting ready to buy this at about the 1550 level. I think if it moves beyond the 1550 level up towards $16 a share, then I think with volume, and again that's the volume is down here. With volume, then I think you could consider moving into it. Right now, I'd be a little bit careful on this one. Another thing that is a cautionary flag is it's only 7% funds in this. I typically like to see at least 20% funds, because the fastest growth of the stock typically is when 20% of the funds, it's at least 20% owned by funds, up to about 65%. That's usually when you see the fastest growth, because it's not the retail investor that typically pushes the stock higher. It is the fund investor. investor. And so that's why I'm always very, very interested in who's in it and what the funds are and that thing, because it definitely shows it moving, it potentially moving higher. Thoughts on AMD and JD, sell or hold? Okay, well, I just bought just for full disclosure, I just bought a full position in AMD today. So let's look at that one first. I'm going to show you the weekly chart first, and then we'll look at the daily to kind of look to see if there's any entry points in it. But this is basically how it's trading right now. We do have a double bottom formation in this, kind of like a W in this, and that's a very good formation. The volume is a little bit low here. I'd like to see higher volume, but but I'll take it. The relative strength is 90. I'm liking that. What I'm also liking is that we have strong sales growth, and we're not just for one quarter, but for basically several months here. We're just making some nice, strong sales growth. So I really like that. Also, when I was talking about the funds, we have strong fund ownership in this. 44% of the stock is owned by funds. That's very powerful. From 20% fund ownership to about 65% fund ownership, that's when you typically get some of your biggest increases in share value, because those funds tend to be long-term holders, and they tend to be what they call strong hands in the business. Let's look at the buy point on it. It's a buy point off a double bottom. The buy point pivot on this one is 88.72. So I'm going to put that out there on the chat, and of course that's on is 88.72 is equal to the buy point for AMD, and let's see what level base that is. Always like to see. Okay, that's a fourth level base. Here's the thing with a fourth, it's a fourth level base, so this is not as powerful as the first, second, and third. So you got to be careful with this one. This definitely could pull back, but I was sufficiently liking it that I did do a position in this one today. We are just below the buy zone. And again, the buy zone, of course, is 88.72. We're at 86.81. So let's take a look at the small portfolio. I just went into this one today, and that shows I'm a little bit down on it. Yeah, see, it's a little bit weak. It's probably not it's just right before the pivot, down about $3 on the buy on this one. My buy price was at 87.44. It's currently at 87.05. On this one, so that's kind of gives you the idea. We're 68 days in front of earnings, so that is a good thing. We don't want to buy that close into earnings, and we don't want to buy, we want to buy after earnings, because that's going to be less of a potential for a problem. When you're buying into earnings, you can get into a lot of trouble. So let's look at JD, and of course JD is one of the largest of the Chinese stocks, along with Baba and Tencent. But let's look at JD. Some of the EV companies, the Chinese EV companies, are having a little bit of trouble with the government in China. So they're off today, and I kind of want to show you that. This is one of the dangers in buying, of course, Chinese stocks, because they don't really follow generally accepted accounting principles like the other companies. But it's still got a very strong rating. It's a 95 on the relative strength, so that's good. We're above a buy zone. The cup with handle buy zone is the second stage, is 85.39. That's the pivot on it. So that is looking, that's looking good. We're getting just shy of where you can really safely buy that. So let's see if it's still good. We have a 100% checklist on this. This is excellent. And on the fund ownership, we have increasing fund ownership. So, you know what? I do think you can buy this one. I really do. I think this is more than likely going higher. Let's look at the weekly chart to see. The trend has not been unbroken. So we still have a very strong trend on this. So, interestingly enough, JD is in a buyable, is buyable at this point, at this level, and it's not extended. So, I like JD. Now, JD is in the buy zone, whereas AMD is right below it. So, that's kind of kind of the deal here. Let's see about the next question. Thanks again, Chris. What's going on with Palantir, PLTR? And of course, as you will know, I'm in Palantir. I'm in Palantir as well. So let's look at Palantir. PLTR is the symbol, of course, and this is a Peter Thiel company. Very interesting. Peter Thiel, of course, as you know, was one of the founders of not only one of the venture capitalists for Facebook, Tesla, PayPal, and the list kind of goes on. So pretty successful when it comes to that. Let's look at the first of the weekly chart. It's a little bit, this is an IPO base, so this is just recently IPO'd. It's up $10.44 today, and of course I started buying it in about the $15 range. That's about here. It's going to be, again, this is going to be a little bit dangerous to buy it at these levels. I mean, to buying at these levels is difficult because I do expect that eventually we're going to have a pullback. I mean, it just has to happen. I'm protecting myself by moving my stop losses up on it, but we are going to have a pullback. That's for sure. We are going to have a pullback. Let's look at the checklist. Checklist is 6 out of 9, so it meets my minimum. And we do have 58, which is kind of amazing. On its debut, we already have 68 funds in it. So a lot of funds are in it as well. Do I recommend this one? Well, this is a pretty speculative one, but I seem to have done fairly well with this. I did make some initial buys at the buy point, at the IPO based buy point at 11, wrote it up right before earnings, sold, and then I came back in. I thought I had bought it a little bit high at about 19, but it appears that it was not high. I probably should have bought more. It's always woulda, coulda, shoulda. But, looking very, very good. Now, would I buy it at this point? And that's the key. No, I would wait until we form another base. Right now, it's just pulling up. We don't have a base pattern. It's going to pull back. It's going to form that base. That's when you want to start looking at adding position. If you add a position here, it's going to be it's very problematic because more than likely it'll pull back and you might be left with it moving down. So I'd be very careful with Palantir right now. It is very, very extended. But it will form another base, and I think when it forms another base, it's going to give you another opportunity. And of course, I'll be on top of that. And if you are in the action trade alerts, I will be covering. I will be covering that as well. So if you do want to get the free action trade alerts, it's super easy. Just go to www.dallastradingfloor.com. And then it's in the sign up for it. And of course, it's all free. And if you're looking on TikTok, just go to my profile and then hit the link, and you should be good to go on that as well. So, thank you for that question on Palantir. It's pretty interesting. Let's look at Benjamin writes in about VTRS. Let's look at VTRS. See if we can find, just kind of evaluate that VTRS. VTRS is various generic and branded drugs, basically for a wide range. So the generic drug business is potentially a really good one. There are several really good companies. There's an Israeli company, Teva, that's in this business as well. But I don't like this chart, and I want to show it to you. Basically, I just kind of want to show you. This is the first thing I always do when I look at something to buy. And this is absolutely what I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to eliminate things that eliminate things so that I don't buy the wrong thing. So one of the first things I do when I look at a chart, and I'm going to be looking at this chart. This is of course not the chart that this is a downward trending chart, not the chart that's in the background on my feed from TikTok. Let me see if I can change that really quickly on my feed here. I don't know if I can. Anyways, let's see if I can do that really quick on the. Oh no, I can't. Okay. I don't know if I can change my feed there. I don't think I can. So anyways. So this is just on the YouTube feed, but on Veritas VTRS, the trend is a downward sloping trend. So right out of hand, just without doing any more business, without doing any more work, I have to reject this one because even though it's turned up, it's above the 200-day line. It only has a relative strength of 22. So I just have to say this one it doesn't meet the smell test. Unfortunately, I wish it did. Let's take a look at the next question from YouTube. This is a question on GE. Here's the thing about GE. When you're buying stocks, try to refrain from something that I consider to be kind of a general mistake, and that is try not to buy cheap stocks just because you've heard of their name. I mean, people were buying Hertz, this year, and it was a terrible deal because they were bankrupt. I think the same thing kind of goes true with General Electric. Now, General Electric does have profitable business. I'm not saying it's bankrupt, but they're going to be laying off a tremendous number of people in their aviation division. So I think you have to be extremely careful when buying this. It does have an upward trend though, so that is a good sign. And there is potentially a buy point at 1175. It's currently at 1050. So I don't believe that we really have a place to buy this. It has a relative strength of 83 though, so that's good, and the funds are increasing. But the checklist is too low for me at 5 out of 9. Here's what I would do with GE. I just don't think it's time to buy it yet. I think we're going to have to wait until it's at least over $14 to buy it. I just don't think it's strong enough, and I don't think, AJ, that you want to be in this one. I don't think it potentially can move lower. The trend currently is down for this, so it is not the kind of trend that is the best to buy a stock in. Now let's look at WFC, and let's see what we can come up with there. That's Wells Fargo. Now the financials, I'm not a fan of the financials. I'll be upfront with you on this. It has shown a little bit of life here. It's come up a little bit above the 200-day line. Here's another rule that I absolutely follow all the time, and it's really helped me out. Never buy a stock if it's below its 200-day moving average. Make sure that it's come above that. Now, in this case, it definitely has, but just barely. So this is just not the kind of stock that you want to be in. It's got a relative strength of 13. My minimum is 80 on this. So, and it only has 4 out of 5 in terms of the criteria. The checklist is very poor. We have negative interest rates. I just can't see Wells Fargo as a deal. Obviously, many people, they think that value investing is the thing to do, and I understand that. But trend traders have done better than value traders for now over 30 years. So this is something you really want to get in a habit of being very careful with beating down stocks, because a lot of times stocks are beaten down for a reason. And I think that, that is, I'm not saying that Wells Fargo is going to go out of business anytime soon, or even GE, but I just don't think they offer the kind of thing that you want. They're not strong enough. And I think that that's a real issue when it comes to stock picking. So I can't recommend either of those. I unfortunately think they're not the way to go. This is a question from TikTok. Hi, what do you think about RVLV? Are they about to do a short squeeze? Interesting question. Let's look at it to see. Now, unfortunately, on TikTok, you're not going to be able to see the screen. So if you jump over to the YouTube feed at youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor, you'll be able to actually see the chart that I'm analyzing. But the symbol is RVLV, and the question is, do we have a short squeeze here? Well, let's take a look. First of all, it is in. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. We do have a movement up here. Let's look at the short interest. Yeah, it's very high. The short interest is definitely very high. At 15% of the stock is short right now. So there are people that were really thinking this thing is going to come down. It's pulled up today. It looks like there was some short covering. So I definitely see where you're coming from. on this. Let's see. Let's look at the chart. 7 down to 9, so that's good. That's definitely in there. And we do have increasing fund ownership. So there definitely is a short. There is, this is a as they say, this is a bear hunt. There are a lot of people for some reason that don't like this one. Now, what does this do? This is a fashion retailer for the millennial and Generation Z customers. Wow, not an area that I'm in. I can see why there's a lot of shorting going on in this, even if this is a very good store. And I don't know this store, to be honest with. It's called Revolve Group Incorporated. Even if there is, it just doesn't look good in terms of the stock. We have a downward trending stock, so I can see why people would short this one. It did have strong earnings. You know what? I would stay away from this one. I think there's other ways to make money. Shorting a stock in an ascending market, which we have now, is not a good idea. It could get you in a lot of trouble. But I do think you are right. I think there is a bit of a short squeeze going on with this stock. So thank you very much for that. For that question. I had the wrong thing up. Jim, thoughts about space. Okay, this is one of my I have been a player in space, as you know, if you've watched this broadcast before. Back earlier in the year, I definitely was in it up until I was up into about the 40s, and then I pushed my stop loss off, and then it pulled back, and then boom, I was out. But let's look. It may, we may have another opportunity here. It has definitely made, and this is interesting. There is a cup formation, second stage, 27.55. So, you know what? And we've got, when do we have earnings? Let's see when we have earnings here. We have earnings in February. You know what? This is actually buyable. Unbelievable. This is actually buyable. Let me put the let me put the on the chat. Let's see if I can put that on the chat for that. Let's see if I can go down there to the chat and put it in there. Let's see. And the buy point on space SPCE is equal to, and then I'm going to see it's like a second stage base. Okay, it's 27.55. For some reason I have. See if I can get this bar off of here. See if I can reduce that. Maybe I can hide that. Okay, goodness. Oh gosh. All right. Let's see if I can hide that bar. Okay. All right. Let's see. There we go. That's easier. That's easier to do. Now I can get to the chat. Okay, the buy point on space is let's see, 27.55. Wow, that's interesting. So 27.55 on second stage base. Very interesting. So actually, believe it or not, you could buy space at this point. It's not on my watch list right now, but it might be. It's got increasing fund ownership. The checklist is a little bit light, 5 out of 9. So not really. This is not a full position invest. This is like a quarter or half position at the absolute most. Very speculative. Relative strength of 94. So yeah, I mean it potentially could be bought. That is absolutely amazing. I didn't think that would be the case, but it's always interesting to see kind of what is happening on that when it happens like that. Let's take another question from TikTok. Thanks for holding here. Let's see. Join. Okay, there we go. So we have. Oops. Let's see if I can get that up there. Thoughts on SUNW? So let's look at SUNW here. SUNW, and that is Sunworks. And wow, this is sort of a penny stock. Typically, I'm not interested in stocks that are below $5, but let's take a look at this one. We have a stock essentially that is a very, very volatile stock. It's got a relative strength of 99 though, so that's good. I typically like to see at least 80. Where are we going with this one? Wow. Okay. Well, let's see if I can kind of get an idea. Wow, this is just all over the place. Let's see if I can resize the window here to take a look. Boy, it looks like it has a, wow, this is just the craziest chart. Look at that. On the daily chart, it looks as it's 553. This one's just too thin for me to do anything on. There's been some selling on it. Gosh, where would I be on this one? Let's look at the monthly to see if there's any kind of trend. Yeah, this is a downward trending chart, unfortunately. I don't think you want to be in this one. I just don't, because we have a downward trend here. Just this is the first thing that you do. Sometimes you can't tell because it's so volatile. You can't even tell on the weekly chart. You have to look at the monthly chart. This monthly chart is a downward trend. I mean, there is a lot of activity, but I just can't get interested in this one until it comes above about 14. It's currently at 553. I just have to take a pass on this one. I just have to take a pass on this stock. It just doesn't meet. Unfortunately, it just doesn't meet the criteria that we need. I mean, it's just not there. All right, so let's take a look. Hey, good question. This is from Ali. When are you selling Tesla? Well, good question. Good question. When am I selling Tesla? I am looking basically to sell Tesla when it starts to move down. Now, when will I know when to sell it? Well, I don't. What I'm going to do on Tesla is as it moves higher, I'm going to continue to push my stop loss up. So let's look at the daily chart for Tesla right now, see if there's any place that we want to put our stop loss. And that's the important thing. Okay, it definitely moved beyond the first buy point was right here at 465.90. That was right here. And then there's a secondary buy point here at 502. It's currently at 574. It's up $18 or about 3%. So where do I see the stop loss being? Well, I'm probably going to move it. I'm at about 520 right now. I'm probably going to move my stop loss up to maybe about 540, right below where this little this little pullback is. So that's probably where I'm going to move my stop loss into that range, and that's going to be probably about the 540 range, or maybe 535 is where I'm going to look at it. I'm going to do a little bit more research on it on the 5-minute chart. So let's see if we can kind of see what's going on. Boy, there's just huge buying in this issue. I mean, it's basically its all-time high, and there is strong buying. So wowee. Where would I put the stop loss? Well, I would probably put it right about here. Okay, because you can see it. There's a bit of a dip there as well. So I think there's a bit of support right about this level, about the 540 level. That's probably where I'm going to be moving my stop loss up to, so that if we do get a pullback, and we very well may, that be protected on that. So that's a great question. Thank you for that. And let's see the next question here. Oops. See if I can pull back. There we go. All right. So let's look at Snap. Now, Snap is interesting because along with PayPal, it's going to be doing Bitcoin. It's going to be doing stuff with Bitcoin, which I do think coming into the new year is going to be a very big thing, because I do expect that there is going to be a lot of weakness in the market. As as many of these businesses close, unfortunately, I think you're going to see a lot of weakness in the market. I think you're going to want to see people move into something that is not the dollar and not the euro and can be not manipulated. And you would say, well, that would be a case for gold. I think that is somewhat of a case for gold, but I think it's more of a case for Bitcoin, because with physical gold, you can't transmit it through the internet, and you can with Bitcoin. So that is kind of a good thing. Let's look at Snap in terms of its chart to see kind of if there's anywhere to go. There's been a little bit of a consolidation here at this level, from right a little bit lower than $40 there on up. So we're right about in the middle of it. It's up $1.27 today. Let's see if there's any kind of formation that we could buy off of. Well, it doesn't appear that we have a buy point, but it gapped up above that. The last was a first stage cup at 26 40.76. That was the last buy point. So we're extended beyond that. We gapped up, and we're basically the low right now at the 21-day exponential is 37.35. Where do I think this could be bought? Well, I do think that the only place you could buy that at this point, at this moment, Snap can be bought, but I think you're going to have to buy it off of the 21-day exponential, and that's 40.72. So that's really the only buy point that I have for Snap. Unfortunately, you're probably just going to have to watch until this thing settles down more and forms more of a base, because it's a little bit extended. If you bought at this level, there's a high likelihood that you could pull back, to below 40. I do think that if this pulls back to about 37.38, then I think you could buy it, and I think you could buy it pretty comfortably. It's a good stock. I mean, it's 98 relative strength, so that's very, very powerful. You have increasing here. You have increasing sales. Always like that in a growth stock. You want that increasing sales. You also have increasing fund ownership. This is also very important, as you can see. We also have funds that are in the sweet spot from about 20 to 25% on up to about 65%. So definitely could move a lot higher. There is one kind of black mark in that, of course, is it still has negative cash flow. So even though the sales are going up, it's still not revenue positive. But it looks like with everything going on, that possibly could turn very, very quickly. So I think that a lot of funds are very interested in it. Checklist is excellent at 8 out of 9. So that's 88%. So the only thing it really fails is earnings per share. And of course, the reason it fails at earnings per share is as negative earnings per share currently. The ownership is good and getting better. 886 number of funds in it, and we do have the Fidelity Contra Fund in it. That's sort of the good housekeeping seal of approval. So I'm liking everything about this. The only thing is there's really not a good place to buy it. There's not a strong position to buy it. You're going to have to buy it, if you're going to buy it at this level, you're going to have to buy it off of the 21-day exponential. And again, you're going to have to see a pullback. And I think that if it pulled back to about $40 a share from 45 and then reversed, I think you might have a place to buy this. But it's a very good stock and very strong, just no place to buy it right now that I can see. So thank you for the question. I really appreciate it. And let's see if we have the next question. This is from TikTok. So let's see. All right. Keep the great work. Thank you. Live in Maine. Hey. That would be great. I love Maine, by the way. This is brother versus brother 7 on TikTok, and hopefully I'm going to be putting together a little Udemy course this next month, and I think we should have that out. It's going to be very, we're gonna offer it on Udemy hopefully, and I'm putting that together right now. Just some of the basics in CanSlim trading. If you kind of want to get ready to possibly do a little reading of kind of what I'm doing, what I'm talking about, kind of jabbering on here, you might want to take a look you might want to take a gander at several books that I do recommend, and they're available on my website. And of course, my website, of course, is www.dallastradingfloor. Now, this is the front page of it, and of course, this is the issue that's going right now. But if you go down here to the Learn to Trade bookshelf, and you just click on that, you'll see this first book here, How to Make Money in Stocks, A Winning System, Good Times or Bad, by William O'Neill. This is the CanSlim system. And by the way, in the last 20 to 25 years, most of the top traders in the world use this system or a variant of it. So this is the book that you definitely want to get. And of course, it's available on, it's available at Half Price Books, but it's also available on my website. Also, I would also recommend this other book here, How to Make Money in Stocks, Getting Started, by Matthew Galgani. This is sort of the cliff notes for that book, but they're both good to buy together. And this kind of gets you into the whole CanSlim sort of methodology. And I think once you start doing the CanSlim methodology, it's just it can be like an absolute revelation. At least it was for me when I started doing this, about 20 years ago. When I was first introduced to this, I mean, before then, I just, I kind of, was around and walked down Wall Street. It was like, a monkey with before I learned CanSlim, it was like, I was like a monkey with a dartboard and a Wall Street Journal, That's how I picked stock, and it was terrible, and I didn't do well. I learned cancel them, and by the way, I'm no master in cancel them. I mean, there are people that like David Ryan that are just phenomenal, but you can see how stocks move, and I've definitely done very well with it. And this show is really I do a lot of cancel them type of things in this, so it's pretty exciting. All right, okay, happy Wednesday, Jim. NEO dropped a bit today. Should we get in? Well, good. I'm glad you mentioned that because the Chinese EV stocks have had a little bit of issue with the government. There was a directive, I think, last year or so, that they would give free land to companies that would build these EV plants, and of course they did, and there was a lot of fraud, and so some of those some of those stocks may be pulling back. Now, NEO, I think, is one of the best ones. I think you want to go with the very best here. I think NEO is probably, if you're going to go into EV stock, this is one you want to be in. And it's bucked the trend. It's up just about 19 cents. Does it look like there's a place to buy this? Let's see if there's a place to get into NEO. This is just going to be super hard to get into because of the way this chart is looking. I really want to see it pull back. And at the very minimum, really, we ought to be, there's really no base to buy it here, unfortunately. This would be, where you would want to start considering buying it here. But I do think that the only place that you're going to be able to buy this is at a pullback to this line here. This is the 40-day line. So I think you have to wait for this to fall, unfortunately, until it forms a base. I think you have to wait for this thing to fall back to about 34 before you can comfortably start buying that. That's what I would do on this. There's been some strong buying, and it's looking good. Let's look at the 5-minute chart to see kind of how it's been trading intraday. Boy, it's all over the place. It definitely broke a trend here at the beginning of yesterday. As you can see, there was the start of a potential trend down. As you can see, there's a potential trend down there. So I think you have to be a little bit careful on this. I want to see this get a little bit of support, and I think you really have to wait until about 34, at least in the short term, to buying it. I am currently not in NEO. I've been in it before with a small portfolio, but currently not now. All right, thanks, Mega Homes. Beam. Let's take a look at Beam. The symbol on that one is BEAM. And that is Beam Therapeutics. Let's look at the weekly chart. We always want to start with the weekly chart to get the idea on the trend. Let's look at the trend. Well, the trend is good because the trend is up. So that's sort of the first thing that we do. We look at that trend. That trend is up. We have a buy point on it. Isn't that interesting? Okay, we have a buy point on that. It looks like, if I can get it right there. I don't know if I can. Let's pull back, see if I can give you that buy point. Yep, there is a buy point. And it is a first stage buy point at $31. So the pivot is $31. Now it's at $44.69. Where can we buy this thing? Well, or do we want to buy this thing? Well, it's a fairly new issue. We have a 95 relative strength, so that is good. Let's go back to the weekly chart to kind of see. This is essentially 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is basically an IPO base. So this is, these are interesting and buyable. IPO base. So we are above. You see, typically how IPO will trade. This is very, very typical. It will move up and then it will pull back and then it gets discovered. It will pull up again and then it will consolidate and it's moving higher. So it's definitely buyable. It's buyable at about 32. So because it's beyond 32. We can buy it off of this potential base. So, but is there a place that we can buy it? Let's look. The checklist is 6 out of 9, so that definitely meets the smell test. Do we have funds in it? Yes, we do. So that's looking very good too. We don't have any sales. We don't have any sales on this, as you can see. So this is a so basically, like with a lot of biotech companies, it doesn't have any sales. So this is basically highly speculative. The earnings are due on the 31st. Probably won't have any earnings this time, obviously. So is there any place we can buy this? You know what? I don't like this one enough to buy it. I want to see, I don't know if you remember, you're probably not old enough to remember that old Show Me the Beef commercial with Wendy's I wanna kind of wait on this one. You know, this is a potential watch list, but I wouldn't buy this right now. There's really no good place to buy it, so I have to pass. I have to pass on that one, unfortunately. Let's take a look at FIT, and I think is this Fitbit? I don't know. I can't remember. FIT is the symbol. Yes, it is Fitbit. What do we think about Fitbit? Well. You know what? It's not that impressive. It's not that impressive. It has a 54 relative strength. Right away, that doesn't appeal to me. We also have a downward trending chart. So I don't really like that either, unfortunately. So, goodness. Wow, we do have a lot of funds in it, though. That's good. The checklist, not good enough. It doesn't make the smell test. I would have to pass on Fitbit, but we did see some uptick in potential earnings there. So I mean, in terms of sales, so I like that. Let's look at the cash flow. We're still losing money on it. So okay, and we have a D on the sponsorship rating. I just would have to pass on this one. Now, is there something that we can look at that might be good? Well, of course, there's Blink charging, of course, and I'm actually in this one. This one's pulled back tremendously. You might want to take a look at this. Oh, it's up today. Interesting. It went up and then it pulled back. That's Turtle Beach. Let's go to Blink charging. Let's see if I can. Yeah. Okay. Did we get Blink? Yeah. There we go. Nope. keeps toggling back and forth. There we go. There's Blink. This is in the same group. You might want to consider this one. This went way up and then it's pulled back, of course. Let's look at the daily on it. Yeah, it's pulled back. And is it getting any strength? No, it's off $2.84, down about 10%. So, you know, that one might be a possibility. Again, I did buy this one. I may be exiting this one. You know, if it doesn't run right, I'll be out of it. But right now I'm in it. So there you go. Update on, and thanks Jay's Fresh Market. I like that idea of Jay's Fresh Market. Where are you located, Jay? GBTC. This is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and of course, you know, this one. Ooh, this is pulling back $1.50. Wow, it's pulling back today a little bit. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, we definitely had some selling. 96. Wow. Okay. Let's see if I'm out of this one. I might be. You never know. Grayscale, but no, I don't think I am. Nope. My stop loss on this one is 19.13. So I'm still in this one. I bought it. My buy price was about 18. So we've definitely pulled back a little bit on the on Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, and we look like we are headed back to the back to this line, the 10-day, which is about 20. So we're right above that. The question is it going to hold? There was definitely some selling. So let's look at the 5 mile. Ooh, look at that! Wow, we had some selling there. We had some selling going into the close. Yeah, we have. Yeah. So and there's a blue bar. So that means that we definitely have. We may have pulled all the way back down to 20. So. We might want to adjust our stop losses on this one, but it does look as if there was a bit of a selling going on here. So I don't know quite of what the news is on Bitcoin, but I think in general the you know, the news for Bitcoin is pretty bullish. Let's look at PayPal, PYPL. That's going to be another one that I want to kind of take a look at because they are buying a lot of Bitcoin right now. Yeah, that's pulling up. It's up 21. That's on the weekly chart. What am I thinking? Let's look at the daily chart. Yeah, it's up. Yeah, it's up $6. Yeah, today. So PayPal is moving very, very strongly. I think I'm still positive on this. I'm going to go over to the small portfolio. And by the way, you can take a look at the small portfolio. It's super easy. All you have to do is just go over to the website, and then there is a there's a button for the small portfolio, and I can show you that in just a second. But it looks as if we're still in the green on that. We're definitely doing pretty well on on PayPal as well. So interesting. That kind of gives the rundown there. So I don't exactly know what is happening on GBTC, but it seems like there was a bit of sell-off towards the end of the day. So there you go. All right, Jim, is it worth buying stocks now, or should I wait? Well, you know what? John Maynard Keynes said this many years ago. In the long run, we're all dead. You gotta put a little bit out to make money in this business. I'm not saying you should just go hog wild, but there are some things that are out there that are very good and you can do well with. So just I think there are things that you can do. Never sell Tesla. Well, never say never. But I think that right now that's probably a good idea. Thoughts on Fisker? I don't really want to. I'm going to probably do a special show on Fisker, but right now I'm not gonna do that. But I'm going to see if there's. Oh, here we go. Here is a question for H on HYLN. This is from TikTok. Let's take a look to see HYYLN. And this is for Rumi's Simmers. I like that. I don't know if you know Michelle and Rumi's. That was a good movie, anyways. HYLN. All right, and that is provider of electrified powertrain. So this is sort of a sympathy play to the electric vehicle space. Not everyone is going to be a Tesla, and this definitely one isn't. Not looking too hot here. Yeah, this has a bad chart. Look at that. It's got a downward trend. We don't want that. You see, you don't want charts that look that way. That's moving from high to low. We don't want that. So we just have to say no on that one. Just right out of hand. That chart, that's the first thing you do is take a look at that weekly chart. If it's moving down, just try to avoid it because, that's going to increase your chances of getting a winner if it's first of all it's with the right trend, going low to high, not high to low, and so that's a good idea. Okay, hi Jim, thanks for the tip on Bloom Energy. It's popping. Okay, you know what? I sometimes I need to eat my own dog food because I had this teed up, and I didn't pull the trigger on it just because I got too busy. But yeah, this is pulled really nicely. It's up $8.73. So if you could put that out there. Let me see if I can take that as a screenshot. So I always like to see that. So I'm going to kind of just put that out on a screenshot. There we go. All right. So to prove that actually people are watching, which is a good thing. And yeah, Bloom Energy pulled up very nicely. And what do we see in the future? Well, it's got 77 checklists, so 799. That's really good. It's moving up in terms of the fund ownership, so that's excellent too. It's a Blue Dot special, and it has made a secondary buy point, cup 2338. Wow, this is it's a little bit extended now, unfortunately, but boy, very nice, very, very nice. Good. I would recommend setting my stop loss up to about 2250 on this one. 2250, but congratulations, and tell your friends, please, about the show. Thank you so much for looking. Is Tesla a sell or hold? It is absolutely a hold for right now. Shalish, it definitely is because here's the thing. Don't let your runners sell too early. Don't sell them too early. But what I recommend doing is moving your stop loss up. This is so important. So if it does reverse on you, that you capture all that profit. But as long as it's moving up, let's just stay in the zone. Okay, it's at it's at 574 right now. This is the most current daily chart. Let's kind of look at the 5-minute chart to see kind of how it's traded throughout the day. Oh yeah, it's at its all-time. It ended the day. Wow. No, you don't want to sell this one. This is upward. Heavy volume. It's at an all-time high. It ends the day at an all-time high. This thing is probably going to go higher. Yeah, this thing's going to go higher. Let's look at the monthly chart to kind of get an idea of the trend. Wow. I don't think it's going to maintain this much of an angle. This is just too much, even for Tesla. So I do think it's going to pull back a little bit. I think it just has to. I think it just has to. But at least on the weekly chart, that's kind of the slope that I'm looking at. So it looks to be, for me, it looks to be kind of in this channel here. It seems to be in a channel, and that's sort of the channel. So it's about midway in the channel. Now, how high can it go? Well, it possibly could go to as high as it possibly could move as high as 750 by the end of the year. I don't think that's likely, but before it starts pulling back. So I wouldn't sell this one. I don't think it's time yet. Well, thank you so much for watching today, and please tell your friends about about Dallas Trading Floor. We do action trade alerts, and it's real easy to get those. All you have to do is is sign up for them on the site, and that is basically www.Dallas Trading Floor. Now, also, if because we're on YouTube and we're trying to make things happen here on YouTube, really appreciate if you could just if you could smash and like that like us on YouTube. That would be great. I mean, also subscribe to us on YouTube, and of course on Dallas Trading Floor we have all of the we have the watch list and everything like that. So if you just also on www.Dallas Trading Floor, we have on the homepage. Of course, this is how the homepage looks. There we go. And there's the homepage. We also have this thing called watch list. That's down here. And as you can see, if you punch that button, it's going to bring you right to that watch list as I'm maintaining it. So that's an exciting thing to do as well. Okay, I won't be here tomorrow, but I will be on Friday. Till then, let's see if we have one last question, if I can get it in. Oh, goodness, I'm sorry. I haven't gotten to so many people today. So many people. Well, I tell you what, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them offline. At just go to www.Dallas Trading Floor and then hit the Ask a Question box, and that's how I keep my my stuff together. I'll see you tomorrow on that, and happy trading till then.